Hey guys, Kiro here. I'm gonna talk about farming because I'm surprised at how many people don't actually know how easy this skill is. I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, the only way to train farming is to do plots or to do vine sweeper or even livid farm," and if you're doing those, you're wasting your time really badly. Um, the most common method for farming, as most people know, but some people don't, is to plant trees. And if you do plant trees, it's the easiest 99 in the game. It takes less than 20 hours to get to it if you do the best tree you can. But the problem is that you can only get about 200k XP a day. So you need to start now because at 200k XP a day, it takes about 5 times 13 is 70 days-ish to get to 99. And that's doing the best trees you can. So start it now. It's going to take you 2 or 3 months to max, but it's not going to take you very much time at all. Like I said, I'm only going to talk about tree runs because this is for efficient farming. I don't, a lot of people will go plant herbs, which is fine. It's actually really good money if you do it right. But this is about XP, not about cash. So the first thing you need to do if you're starting at level 1, which most of us did, is to do Fairy Tale 1. I don't think there's any other way to get to 15 farming other than this. Everything else is just a waste of time because, first of all, you have to do Fairy Tale 1 if you play Runescape because fairy rings are massively valuable. The second thing is this is a pre-quest for a lot of other quests, so just get it out of the way now, get the experience for it, and don't waste your time planting cabbages or whatever. Okay, so this table is the types of trees in RuneScape. We have oaks, willows, maples, yews, and magic trees, with the basic types of wood in the game. As you can see, each tree is 15 levels higher than the next, and considerably more EXP as you go up. It's about times 3, times 2. It levels out a little bit, but as you can see, one magic tree gets almost 14,000 EXP for planting and harvesting, which is incredible, and it only takes 8 hours to grow. This next slide is fruit trees, which is the other type of trees you want to plant. There are a lot more of these types of trees and they're squished together in terms of levels. And as you can see, the fruit trees, unlike regular trees, they all take 960 minutes to grow, which I think is about 18 hours. So if you're doing an apple tree or a palm tree, it's going to take the same amount of time. And as you can see again, there's a huge EXP difference between each tree, and palm trees get almost 11,000 EXP per tree. So this next slide is the locations of the trees. The regular trees, there's 5 of them in RuneScape: Varrock, Lumbridge, Falador, Taverley, and in the Gnome Stronghold. I put Gnome Village, but it's a stronghold. This slide tells you the best options to teleport there. The best options are on the left, in my opinion. With all of these, you want to use the tablets, except for the Gnome Stronghold. Use your Ring of Dueling to the Spirit Tree, and then teleport to the Spirit Tree. If you're cheap and you want to use lodestones, go ahead. They're fine. It just cuts down. It adds a lot of time onto your farming run. And I put the Grand Seed pod for the Gnome Stronghold. It is the fastest method, but those pods are upwards of like 10,000 GP, so it's not worth it in my opinion. The next slide are the fruit tree relocations, and there's actually 6 of these, not 5. The only difference is that one of these requires a particularly long quest series. As you can see, Lieta requires Morning End Part 1 to be started, which has a fair amount of pre-quests. But anyway, the locations are the Gnome Stronghold, which is the same place as one of the regular trees, the Gnome Village, Brimhaven, Catherby, and the Herblore Habitat. Now, this slide again shows you the best teleport options on the left, and on the right are some optional ones if you want. Now, the thing is if you haven't done, I think it's called Love Story, to get chipped tablets, what I did is I set my house to Brimhaven, so that I don't have to use a chipped tablet for that. And for the Taverley tree, I would just use the lodestone. The lodestone's actually a little bit closer than the house portal, and It doesn't have much time on. It's not worth doing the quest just to start farming. Now the last thing is a calquat tree, which I sometimes, you can consider it a fruit tree because it yields fruit, but it's its own plot and it's considered its own type of tree as far as I know. Calquat is at level 72 and it takes 8 poison ivy berries to pay for it to not die. It gives a considerable amount of EXP, almost as much as one magic tree, but it does take over 20 hours to grow. It's in the village of Taibowane, which the fastest teleport is actually to use the teleport scroll, which is about 8 or 9k, so again, that's not really worth the money. But the next best is to use the Brimhaven house portal, which, like I said, if you haven't done Love Story, just set your house there and you can use 2 different trees for the one portal. And when you teleport there, you have to run southeast in order to get it. Now, here's a video of me doing a farming run. I'm on an account that's relatively new. I kind of, I had it laying around and I wanted to get started on a new max cave after EOC just to, see how it is. So I'm doing a farming run. I have not done Morning's End Part 1, so I'm not going to do the Yetta one. And I'm not going to do a calquat because mine was actually growing at the time of me filming this, so whatever. But as you can see, I withdrew 5 magic trees and the papayas, actually magic trees and the coconuts to grow it, 5 palm trees and the papayas to grow it, and I got the teleport tablets for the places I want to go. While you're watching this, let me just talk about terms of EXP and numbers and costs and stuff. The cost of the trees depends on if you're paying for them or not. If you use super compost, the trees have about a 10% chance of dying, so just keep that in mind. I usually pay for mine because it's either the same cost, considering that 10% death, or for me it just makes it a simpler skill. I don't mind paying a couple extra mil in the long run for it to be a little bit simpler. Because everything changes in RuneScape, the economy is so dynamic, I'll just post a link to a calculator that shows updated prices for these seeds, but it should, obviously the more EXP per seed, the more expensive the seed is, and farming really is a viable skill. It's going to take you a couple 100 million if you do it efficiently like this. If you just stick with like maples and pineapples, it's going to take like 3 or 4 months, but at the same time you're going to save a lot of money, so it's up to you and it's up to your budget. Now the math, the EXP an hour, and how in the heck can you actually get 99 in 20 hours? Well, here's how. If you do 2 magic tree runs a day, that's about 140k EXP. If you do about 1 palm run a day, that's about 63k EXP, which adding those together is around 203k EXP. And now if you add on top of that 1 calquat tree, that's 215,000 EXP every day. And this is assuming that your yield times are stacked well enough so that you can actually do them once a day. Now, in this video I did the tree run in about 7 minutes, but it was, I didn't have the Lieta tree and my calquat wasn't done growing. I found that it takes about 10-11 minutes if you're doing it slowly to do all 12 trees. So if you do that 215k EXP an hour with a 10-minute run, that totals at about 1,300,000 EXP an hour. I was actually doing 8.5 minute tree runs when I was maxing my old account, so I was actually averaging nearly 2 million EXP an hour. So even with 1.3 million EXP an hour, that's actually 10 hours to get to 99, but of course it takes about another 10 hours to get 275 in order to do magic trees. So that's it. I hope this video helped some of you. I hope some of you are now switching from Vine Sweeper or from Livid Farm or from doing herb runs only to tree runs. I hope that a lot of you will end up getting a 99 in this pretty quickly. It's a very impressive cape in my opinion, even though it is a really easy 99. So yeah, thanks for watching, and just feel free to ask questions if you don't understand.